Happy Wednesday and welcome to Swartz Talking Sports. I'm your host, L. Steven Swartz, but you can still call me Les. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Today is January 15th on the calendar, so it's our second show of the year. And before we get started, we're doing a big show tonight. It's all about the College Football National Championship and the playoffs in the NFL. We go to the divisional round this weekend. But I want to give a special thanks out real quick. Last week I did Brett Calder, lead guitarist from Soul Seduction, for our opening intro and all our entire music. He composed and performed it all. Also, Megan Lang for creating the intro clip, and Joe from Capture the Concept in Connecticut for the awesome commercial work. So Joe's been a big help to the show, and he's a friend of the show. So thank you very, very much out there. So let's get this thing started. Before we bring on tonight's special guest, I want to introduce one of my two co-hosts right now, former national championship quarterback for the Florida A&M Rattlers. 1978, they beat my UMass Minutemen 35-28 back in the day, and the voice of the Rattlers basketball and football broadcast with Melvin Beal. Let's bring my man from Jacksonville on, Al, the Rattler Chester.
My man, Les, what's going on, buddy? Greetings from Jacksonville, Florida, home of the 4-13 Jaguars, who currently own the 5th pick in the 2025 draft. Let's get this show started.
Well, hey, listen, Al, number 2 in the program, number 1 in our hearts. We know that, right? And let's bring on our second co-host all the way from New York, but now he's settled in North Carolina. Aren't we lucky? We call him the Book, Benny the Book, Ben Stimilli.
Good evening, gentlemen. Go Fighting Irish. One more game for the Golden Domes. Put that helmet on, baby.
Now we'll put this helmet on if it would fit. Well, let's bring on tonight's special guest because this guy's well-versed in the college game and in the pro game. He was an All-SEC and All-American defensive back with the Auburn Tigers and had a 5-year pro career with the Cardinals and the Chiefs in the NFL. We're pleased to welcome back for a third time, Bob Harris. Bob.
Hey, Les.
What's up,
Good evening,
Bob?
guys.
What's up, Bob? Hey, Bob. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, as always. Honor and a privilege to be on the show with these sports experts.
Well, first of all, Bob, we are certainly not experts, but the set looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it looks great.
We're jazzing up. But, guys, again, thanks for coming on tonight. We got a big show. Hopefully we have a decent audience tonight. I know that President Biden is giving his farewell speeches tonight before Monday, so good luck to him and on his way out and everything. So hopefully we got some people that'll be tuning in and we can get the show on the road. But first of all, before we go to the first break, I want to talk the college football playoffs, the FBS. We're down at the final two teams, guys. I don't think anybody would have thought at the beginning of the year that Notre Dame would have been there, but they have 14-1, unbelievable, riding a 13-game winning streak against the Ohio State Buckeyes. A lot of people saying they have the best team in college football, the best talent, great coaching staff, everything else. But so let's delve into that game right now and what happened last week. So, Al, I'm going to go to you first. You're the quarterback. Bob's the defensive coordinator. Benny, you're going to tell us about who should we pick in this game and why. But, Al, first of all, let's review last week's Notre Dame-Penn State game. That thing came down to the wire. An ill-advised pass by Drew Aller. I'm sure he was in tears at the press conference, the post-game press conference there. From a quarterback's standpoint, before we get into Notre Dame, what do you make of that play? What should he have done as a quarterback on the last drive of the game when you're tied and not having to win the game right there? What should he have done?
Well, I tell you what, I think that anytime during the football game as a quarterback, you want to protect the football. But when you have the last drive, the last opportunity to set your team up for a field goal, obviously you want to be very smart with the football. What he should have done was taken the sack, pull the ball down, ran it, or threw it out of bounds. But don't force a throw if it's not there. I get the energy. I think what he was trying to do was trying to make a play. He was trying to be that guy to make that big play for his football team, and ended up backfiring on him big time. I tell you, but you got to be smart as a quarterback. I don't care who's playing quarterback. Whenever you're playing, you got to be smart. You got to protect the football at all costs, especially on that last drive.
Now, Bob, I'm going to throw it to you as a defensive coordinator. I know you're an SEC guy. Let's just talk a little bit about Ohio State. Two big plays really capsulized the game. Okay, you've got near the end of the first half, 29 seconds to go. They'd run a screen pass to Travion Henderson. He takes it 80-plus yards for the touchdown that really kind of breaks that game open at that point. Let's talk about that first, and then let's talk about the play that Jack Sawyer made that really cemented the win with the strip sack against yours and everything like that. So you're DC. First of all, how are you playing at the end of the half with 29 seconds to go, and you've got all that field? How are you playing as a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I don't think I'm blitzing all out in that situation. I think I'm trying to pressure the quarterback, but at the same time, I'm trying to keep everything in front of me and and tackle them in bounds. And get to the half for sure. I'm not going to risk man coverage, and especially a team that's shown they can execute the screen plays, and that's what you saw happen, and they got burned on it.
And the play that Sawyer makes, I mean, I'm trying to understand. They had first down and goal at the 1-yard line. Now, guys, a lot of people made. You go on television, they're talking about the play before that the tight end had made a nice play and he got it was a penalty because he was, he was pointing to the guy down and they moved him back. Really didn't have anything to do with the play. 2 straight penalties on a holding and defensive pass interference, put the ball at the 1-yard line. They had 4 downs from the 1. What do you make of, first of all, the call, the toss that lost 7 yards that really put him in that situation, Bob? And then the type of play that Sawyer made to not only make the play, but have the awareness to pick the ball up and then run 80 yards before he ran out of gas. I mean, what type of defensive play is that, and what type of player is Sawyer?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those players that I think he had an opportunity maybe to try to go to the NFL, decided he wanted to come back. I think he's been in the program for I think a full 4 years, and I think he's just as if you're an Ohio State fan, You pull for a player like that the program means a lot to him, and but yeah, and those types of guys, and big time players make big time plays in big games, and that's what he did there. I mean, a strip sack and scoop, and really put the game on ice, and just a tremendous play by him that I think will go down in Ohio State lore if they go on to win the national championship, because it looked for a minute. Texas was, about to go in there and score, even despite the setback from the first and goal. But just a tremendous individual effort on his part.
Now, Benny, let me go to you. You're the big Notre Dame Yahoo here on this panel. I'm certainly not. But where does Notre Dame have an advantage? Everyone's saying Ohio State's going to win the game. We'll get your pick afterwards. But does Notre Dame have an advantage anywhere, whether it's coaching, special team? Where does Notre Dame have an advantage on Ohio State?
I probably think in two segments of the game. Special teams, they've been playing great all year. They've made a lot of great plays, block kicks. Their defensive secondary is very strong. I could see them, if they took the blueprint from Texas, they might be able to do the same thing because their defensive backs are that good. And Marcus Freeman, he's an excellent coach. I mean, Day's also a great coach, but I think they might have a touch advantage there in coaching. But I would say special teams, a little bit of coaching, and hopefully they have the defensive secondary to slow that down.
Now, if we have anybody out there watching tonight, please let us know your comments. Last week, I know the show ran long. I didn't even get a chance to get to any comments. Joni got a couple in, but let us know. We'll interject. We'll run your comments. We'll run your questions. Maybe some of these comments spark some debate here. Also, the poll is open. I think the first poll, Tony, I want to say is the Jeremiah Smith poll. Yeah, so the poll open right now is, will Jeremiah Smith, the amazing freshman wide receiver out of Florida for Ohio State, will he challenge the 3-year rule to get into the NFL? Clarett did it, a former Ohio State back, way back in the day with Jim Tressel, and that got thrown out of the courts, and he pretty much, his career ended up nowhere. Tried with the Denver Broncos. That went nowhere. Let's get to the Ohio State side, Al. Let's look at Will Howard, and then let's look at the quarterback on the other side, Riley Leonard. Both transfers. You know, the first year of both teams, Leonard comes from Duke and Howard comes from Kansas State. Both had good years last year. I think they both won 8 games as starters. How do you evaluate each quarterback and who has the edge, Notre Dame or Ohio State, at the quarterback position?
Well, I tell you what, Les, it all starts up front, regardless of who playing quarterback. You got to have some people up front on both sides of the ball, that offensive line and defensive line, to push people around. Both quarterbacks going into this matchup with a lot of momentum. Both have played well. The kid from Notre Dame seems to be empowered, and he has a certain kind of charisma about him that seems to magnify and get his players ready to go. He's not a great passer, but he's an adequate passer and can get it done. I think that the kid at Ohio State, however, is a better thrower, and he has better talent outside. And of course, you got to have the people up front to block and open up the passing lanes for him. So it should be a good matchup, but you got to have great quarterback play in this great contest, and it's going to be interesting to see who doesn't have that deer in the headlight look, doesn't get taken back by all the fanfare of the national championship, and can get out there and play good, solid football.
Now, Notre Dame did have 2 significant injuries on the O-line in the game against Penn State. Anthony Knapp and Rocco Spindler. Knapp the tackle, Spindler the guard. Knapp is not going to play, and that's important. I mean, he's an edge guy. Yeah. That's going to be big. Spindler is going to play. It's probable that he's going to play. They're also going to get back Bo Collins. He's probable with a calf injury. They're saying he's good to go. Bob, let me go to you. Let's analyze both defenses. You've got Ohio State, Notre Dame, both nationally ranked. They're both top 7 defenses. Notre Dame, very opportunistic what they've done. A lot of takeaways all year, good defensive backs. How do you look at Notre Dame and Ohio State? Who do you think has the better defense, or maybe one has a better back 4, maybe someone's got a better front? Who do you think matches up better against the offenses, Ohio State or Notre Dame?
Yeah, that's a great question. And they both, to your point, have outstanding defense. I think Ohio State's defense averaging giving up 12 points a game. Notre Dame's 14 points. Ohio State's probably played a more difficult schedule. Up front, the front 4 for Ohio State's very physical, and I think that does pose a problem with Notre Dame's offensive line injuries, potentially. Can they protect the quarterback? I like Al's point about Riley Leonard. I do think he does play with a certain swagger. He can make, he can extend plays and create some situations for that Ohio State, defense. I think that the bigger challenge is the Notre Dame defense. Even though they lead the nation in turnovers, I think they've had 32 takeaways this year, which is number one in the nation. So they're a very opportunistic defense, and that's what they're going to have to do against Ohio State. Now they'll be challenged. There's some. There's a two-headed monster at running back. There's at least a two-headed monster at receiver. And so, but if they can, if they can get Ohio State in third and long, that's in their favor. Because they do create turnovers. But it'll be a challenge with those receivers. They like to blitz, and so that's man coverage. They like to put extra man in the box to stop the run, and they may have to do that against Ohio State again, and that's man coverage. So can their defensive backs hold up against those Ohio State receivers, and can Will Howard make those throws in tight man coverage? I think they will challenge them, and I think that will be important for Notre Dame. If they're going to win this game, they're going to have to win it via the turnover, get some short fields and help their offense out, because I do think they may have some difficulty moving the ball consistently against Ohio State.
Now, Ben, let me ask you a question. The line has gone down from 9.5 to 8 as of today. Who knows if it's going to go down even more? Why do you think the line's dropped? And how does Notre Dame win this game? I know we're not going to give away what your pick is. I know it's 8. Do you think that they got a chance to cover? And how do they win this game, Ben? From your standpoint, how does Notre Dame pull the upset?
Well, they have to get that running game going, so that they can at least control the ball, give Ohio State as least amount of opportunities as possible. If they could control the running game, which, I hope they could do, the big injuries on the offensive line, but the replacement for the one gentleman, it was supposed to be a 5-star recruit at the beginning of the year. He was supposed to start. So hopefully he played very well in the second half. That's when they moved the ball. Yeah. When the two guys came in, they started moving the ball. So controlling the ball, giving Ohio State as few opportunities as possible. And, they got to put pressure on the Ohio State quarterback. They put pressure on him. I think he will make mistakes.
Well, that plays right into Notre Dame's hands, Ben. We know how opportunistic that defense is. Bob, just said they lead the nation in takeaways, and
Ohio
what they did
State
against USC
is really. They're by far playing the best out of any team.
Right.
They're offensively, defensively, they're doing it all. Notre Dame kicking game. The Notre Dame kicker was very good last. He came from South Carolina. He was very good. He got injured at the beginning of the year. Didn't kick most of the year. Was having a hard time. He heard he's got a groin injury, but the last 3 games he's made the big kicks when he's had to.
Well, do we have any questions out there? Nothing. We have no comments. We have no questions. My God, what is going on, guys? Wake up. Our Furman guy hasn't asked a question. Our Rutgers guy hasn't asked a question. My posse hasn't asked any questions. I think they got me confused. They're waiting for Les, not this L. Steven Swartz.
They might be watching Biden sleep on TV.
Well, all right. Let's not get into politics, even though he probably is. Okay, guys, let's make our picks. Okay, Al, I'm going to go to you first. Who's going to win the game, and why do you think ultimately either Ohio State or Notre Dame is going to take it home?
Well, I tell you what, I think that the way you beat a team like Ohio State is you keep their offense on the sideline. If Notre Dame can establish the run and control the line of scrimmage, run the football effectively, throw when they need to, eat up clock, and keep that potent offense of Ohio State on the sideline, they have an opportunity. The game is played 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams. You got to have excellent play in all phases of the game in this great contest. Ohio State, now, they can strike fast. They can strike quick. They, too, can run, but they can throw the football around with great receivers. I like Ohio State. I think it's going to be a good football game, good matchup, but I think Ohio State, because they have such a potent offense, that they can make things happen a lot quicker. They can strike a lot faster, and I think right now they're playing better football than anybody in the country.
8 point is the spread, Al. Do you think they cover? Did they win by double digits? What do you think?
I think it's going to be close. It might not be quite double digits, but it's going to be close.
All right. Well, let's go to our resident SEC guy, Bob. Before you break it down and you tell us who's going to win, Bob, which of these two teams plays more like an SEC team?
That's a great question. Yeah.
That's all I ask, Bob, is great questions. Come on.
Yeah, you can do it. You're on tonight. You're hot, Les. Yeah. I mean, I think defensively Notre Dame, offensively Ohio State.
All right,
How about
good.
that?
All right.
Yeah.
Because the takeaways on defense, but the explosiveness that they have on offense, Ohio State, where I mean they can, a simple handoff or a simple screen pass can go 60, 70 yards, and then the talent they have at receivers with Smith and Amuka are just that's SEC talent level there. So
who's going to win it? Who's going to win it, Bob? I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I think I think Ohio State's got the better roster. And I know the Vegas favorites I think are 9-1 in the playoffs. So I'm gonna buck the trend. I think Notre Dame finds a way to win, and I think Marcus Freeman is a big part of that. I think he's a tremendous motivator of college football players. He's an excellent tactician. He's shown he can outcoach some of the best coaches in college football. And I don't know. I just feel like Notre Dame, the underdog story. I like Riley Leonard. I think he's got a little, like I said, a moxie to him that he can make some plays. And I think they hold Ohio State to field goals in the red zone, and they score a couple extra touchdowns, and they find a way to win it.
Wow. So Bob is taking the Fighting Irish. Now, Benny, before we go to your pick.
I always said that Bob was a very smart guy.
We
from
did.
the first time I met him. I always said that.
Listen, I'm starting to debate that.
What kind of question? You're going to ask me that question?
Before we go to you, Ben, we got some comments, so we got a comment or two.
Okay,
so I'm going to throw it to
good.
Joni to see what the viewers have to say.
Okay, yeah. People started to wake up here.
All right.
It's great. This is actually a question for Bob. Having played safety at Auburn, would like to have your perspective on how to defend against Tyler Warren of Penn State. That's Gary McNeil who asked that question.
Warren, he's going to be a top 15 pick, Bob. He's going to be a tremendous pro. How do you defend a guy like that?
Well, you hope you get a really good pass rush to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's a big physical, player that, with just the physical mismatch against a safety just because of the size differential, it's almost like he can post up, play basketball because he can be covered but open at the same time with an accurate throwing quarterback. So I think you have to be as physical as you can with him up front, try to keep him from getting a clean release off the line of scrimmage, and hope you get a good pass rush so it's not an easy throw for the quarterback.
Yeah, 6'6", 260 pounds. He's a beast.
And he can run.
And he can run. He's got great hands.
Yeah, he's downfield all the time. He's always downfield.
Yeah, you got to have some help with, like I said, pressure on the quarterback.
Bob, I think you could have handled him. I think you could have taken him 1-on-1 in your day. I think so. I'm just telling you.
We'll go with that.
That pick with Notre Dame, I don't know. We're going to have to talk about that. Good question, Gary. We got another one out there, Joan?
We have some more comments. Okay, so John Irwin. I think Notre Dame will have to throw to win. OSU will stack the box and spy Leonard. Is Leonard capable of throwing them to a title?
All right, guys. Al, let's throw it to you. Okay, John brings up a really good point. The big thing that Riley Leonard does is he beats you with his legs. If they put a spy on Leonard and they stack the box to stop Love and the other back, Price, can Riley Leonard beat Ohio State with his arm?
Well, you know what? I tell you what, that's a strategy, a good defensive strategy. Put 8 in the box and make the quarterback throw. Make him throw the football. Make him beat you. He's capable now of making good throws. He can throw the football around. He's got some adequate receivers as well. I think anything is possible. But now, because he does run and he does run well, he's always a threat. So you got to watch that guy, man. He's a big kid too. Yeah. But can he throw? He can throw to be effective and be successful. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. So there's one for Riley Leonard. Go ahead, Joni.
Okay. So Tech for Fun. Who do you think will have more successful NFL players over the next 5 years, Ohio State or Notre Dame?
That's it. Interesting. Well, you know something, guys? That's interesting. Will Marcus Freeman be here for 5 more years. We talked about it in the pre-show. Will the NFL come grabbing him? Bob, what do you think? You think Ohio State? I think Ohio State will because they recruit better, but I'm just asking you that.
Yeah, I mean, with a combination with their historical recruiting prowess that they've had over the last several years and the NIL account they have, I think they got a $20 million roster this year. So I don't know if Notre Dame's at that level, but yeah, as long as Marcus Freeman stays at Notre Dame, I think they'll continue to be a title contender every year. But I think what he's demonstrated this year, he can do it with maybe fewer pro type players. But yeah, I think Ohio State will continue to have be a NFL pipeline like they have been over really the last couple decades.
Good question there. Good question.
Yeah,
And what else?
Ohio State just with wide receivers. I mean, every year the wide receivers are the best wide receivers in the country.
Well, guys, between Ohio State, LSU, and Alabama, look at all the receivers in the NFL. Not just Pro Bowlers, but future Hall of Famers. Incredible. Go ahead, Joni.
Okay, so Mike Miller says hoping for Notre Dame, but don't think the line. I think he means the Notre Dame line injuries will be able to hold up.
Well, Mike's a big fan of Notre Dame. He's in Maryland. We love Mike because he's a big hockey guy. With that, let's just go to Benny's. Let's go to Benny's pick right now. Let's let him pick. Benny, it's 8 points. The over-under is 45.5. You're betting. Who are you taking?
Well, my heart says Notre Dame. I think if Riley plays a clean game, they will win the game. But I don't know if he has the passing capabilities to. I've been so impressed with Ohio State's defense. I mean, the safeties and their linebackers, they all look like linebackers. I mean, the safeties. He made the play coming up, number 8. He blew the pitch. He did 7 yards. They really looked good. I'm gonna be rooting for Notre Dame. I hope it's a close game, so this way I win with my points if they do lose. So
8 points. Are they going to cover or no?
Yeah, they're going to cover.
Okay, so you think you like Notre Dame?
Yes.
In the 8 points? Okay.
Let me add 2. Go ahead, Benny.
I also love that Notre Dame with plus 14 against Alabama when they had the number 2 in the nation.
That was the
and Alabama was number 1.
14. Yeah, that was
when Notre Dame had the great defense with the number 5 as their linebacker.
Yeah, he was too busy getting catfished. Okay,
Wait, I have a comment.
Hold on, we got a comment. Hold on, we got a comment. Let's throw a comment in there.
Okay, Eric Mayer says, I'm rolling with Benny's picks this week. Come on, Benny, don't let me down. Unless he picks Notre Dame.
Well, Benny likes Notre Dame. Al, go ahead.
No, what I was going to add was if the starting quarterback for Notre Dame doesn't play well, I was actually impressed with the backup last week when Riley went in. He came out and he was winging that ball like nobody has ever seen before. So they have a talented backup quarterback who's capable of coming in and throwing the football. But I think that the leader, the undisputed leader of that football team is the starting quarterback. No question.
All right, now it's time for me to make my pick. What?
Walt has a comment.
Well, okay, go ahead. Walt has got a comment.
Walt says, Benny, never bet with your heart.
That's probably a good thing, Benny. Never bet with your heart.
I know that, but what are you going to do?
All right, so it's my time to pick. Okay, so we all know that, we definitely want Ohio State to win. I think they have the better team, but oh my God, Bob, I have to agree with you. I don't know what the hell. I just think Notre Dame is riding something. I think that Will Howard will force 1 or 2 throws. The one thing he doesn't do great is he doesn't take the underneath ball. Sometimes he tries to get all of it back at one shot. And I think Notre Dame, Xavier Watts is a great defensive back. I think they'll get some pressure on him off the edge. They'll force a couple turnovers. I agree. They'll stop him to field goals in the red zone. And I think Notre Dame's going to win a close game. How about the Irish 23, Ohio State 20? Oh, my God. Oh, Lord.
We'll be dancing in the streets of Leland.
I will not be dancing. I'll be in front
of your house, Les, with my sign.
Oh, God. And
Let's go.
Benny, I got 45 guns that say you won't.
Oh.
All right. Well, listen, guys.
Benny, get a hold of Ripley, believe it or not.
All right. So Bob and I like Notre Dame. Benny thinks they'll cover. Al thinks, I don't know if they're going to cover or not, but they both think Ohio State's going to win. It's going to be interesting. Guys, thanks for the comments. Thanks for the questions. Keep them coming, because when we come back, we're talking NFL divisional round. We got some great games. Are the Chiefs going to three-peat? We'll have an answer to tonight's poll result. We'll do that after this.
If you want to change the way you play, you must change the way you train. Start training, join the revolution.
Welcome back to Swartz Talking Sports. I'm your host, L. Steven Swartz. You can call me Les. This is not a thing on Stephen A. Smith. It's L. Steven Swartz. That's the way I want to be known moving forward. By the way, great basketball commercial there. Man, now all we need is Dan Hurley. We got the UConn connection. Now we got to get Danny Hurley on the show. Guys, we've got left to right, we've got Bob Harris, our special guest, former All-SEC, All-American defensive back, Auburn Tigers, 5-year NFL career. My man in the middle, Al the Rattler Chester, quarterback of the 1978 Florida A&M Rattlers against the UMass Minutemen. Sorry about that, Al. You broke my heart that day. And we got the book, Benny Stamilli. He likes Notre Dame to cover, but not to win the game. Guys, it's NFL divisional playoff time. The wild card weekend is behind us. Maybe one surprise, I think all the home teams won with the exception of Tampa Bay. We can touch on that briefly. But first game up on Saturday, we've got the Texans and the Chiefs looking to three-peat that game, 4:30 on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus. Does Tony just on every single week? The Wizard is on again. Great graphics there. Let's break it down. I'm going to go to my man in the middle, quarterback here. You've got Patrick Mahomes looking for 3 in a row, Al. They sat back last week, watched Houston destroy my Los Angeles Chargers. That was just Justin Herbert throwing 4 picks when he threw 3 the entire season. Before we get to your take on that game, what do you make of the Chargers? They were favored by 3. Justin, I still love him. I still think he's a tremendously talented quarterback. He can do it all, but 4 interceptions. Al, what do you make of that game against Houston last week?
I tell you what, I actually bet on the Chargers myself, but and Coach Harbaugh, because I thought they were playing solid football going into the wild card weekend. But Justin Herbert came in, man, and laid eggs everywhere. They just couldn't get out of their own way. And they got outplayed and they lost, and it's just unfortunate. But I mean, the better team won that particular day. But Justin had a rough day. I think he threw more interceptions last Saturday than he did all season.
Yeah,
he
did. He did. Well, let me ask you a question. Now the matchup, they have to go to Kansas City. Very difficult place to play. Bob's played there. He knows what it's like at Arrowhead. The crowd is crazy. It'll probably be cold. Do the Texans have enough to challenge the Chiefs? I don't know if they're going to win, Al, but do they have enough to make it a game into the fourth quarter? What is your take on that?
I think they do. I think they're playing with a lot of momentum. Their head coach and the quarterback is playing lights out. Their defense, man, they're playing very fast and very physical. They're swarming all over the field. Quarterback, though, everybody's concerned about the weather, but he played at Ohio State, so he can throw the football around in that cold weather. They're playing good football. Now, you can't really bet against Kansas City. I mean, Mahomes, man, Mahomes' magic has just been everywhere the last 5-6 years. I mean, the guy played lights out. Now, they're coming off a bye week. They're cold. There's a chance if Texas can keep it close going into the fourth quarter, they could get those guys because they got great special teams as well, the Texans I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a great matchup. I think the weather could have an impact. All 3 phases, Bob and I talk about it all the time. Offense, defense, special teams, you got to play lights out. This is that great contest. This is one of the ones that I think that I'm going to go with the Texans.
Oh,
upset.
Well, okay. Well, it's 8.5. We'll get to Benny with the spread. But, Bob, let me ask you this. You got the Chiefs. Mahomes has had a pedestrian year for Patrick Mahomes. He didn't even make the Pro Bowl. But the one thing about Mahomes is in the fourth quarter, when there's 2 drives to be had, He makes plays. He's a playmaker supreme. He just finds guys. He'll scramble. He'll do what he can. As a defensive coordinator, and I'm putting your DC hat on again. How and listen, if you come up with some good plans, Bob, you might find a couple of job openings here in the NFL. But let me ask you a question: how do you're not going to stop Mahomes? How do you contain him in the pocket where he is not able to scramble and make big plays? What's the best way to keep him in the pocket and get pressure up the middle so he just can't scramble around? What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, I mean, and Al, yeah, you're wrong. You can bet against the Chiefs, like it sounds like you're doing, but you use them as you're giving money away. But I'm like you. Mahomes' magic is the guy's just. I just think he has that sixth sense that you really can't teach your coach when it comes to extending plays. And to your point, Les, if you can keep him contained in the pocket, he's less likely to do that. So part of that, I think, it starts with your upfield rushers. They can't rush past a quarterback, and they have a tendency to try to do that because they're trying to speed rush up the field to get around those tackles, and that just creates a natural opening right there. And he's got, like I said, that uncanny ability to find that gap, and it's normally between the inside and the outside rusher to one side or another. So you gotta be a little more aware of that, and maybe you run some more twists where they come up and then they dip under and your tackles are looping around. But then again, they've got to be athletic enough to be able to get out there and contain him. So not to get too technical, but it poses the challenges for sure. And I think you can actually, because the Chiefs don't seem to have quite the downfield threats they've had. Tyreek Hill's not there. They don't have that deep downfield threats like they've had in the past. I think you have an opportunity to rush a fifth man as well to get, maybe even quicker pressure when you create one-on-one blocking on the offensive line. So, but I just think he's just a tremendous player that's a generational player because 10 years from now or whatever he's done playing, we'll go, it'll be a long time before we see another Mahomes because he's definitely magical.
Well, we do have some comments, and I will say real quick before we get to Joni, the defensive ends for Houston, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter.
Yeah.
Both great players. Hunter coming over from the Vikings. Anderson, top 5 draft pick 2 years ago. I mean, they were all over Justin Herbert. 39% of the times he dropped back, they were in his front lap, right? So, but you're right. They've got to contain. They just can't, rush up the field and let Mahomes get underneath them, or it's going to be a long day. Yeah. Let's get to a comment, Joni.
Okay. Yes, there are several actually.
Several comments.
So John Irwin says, can the Texans surprise Kansas City? I think the rest Kansas City got with the week off is enough to tip the scales.
Ooh.
Yeah, he says, I think they can cover but not win. So he thinks
Houston can cover but not win.
Let's see. Jerry Amatrano. No. Chiefs are losing.
Wow.
But he also says you can't stop Mahomes.
Well, so Mahomes is going to have a great game, but the Chiefs are going to lose.
Chiefs are not losing.
Okay.
He says Chiefs are not losing.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
You can't stop Mahomes. High, fast reaction time. Let's see.
What else we got?
Eric Mayer says it's the playoffs, new season. Texans can win. Only problem is the NFL. The only problem is the NFL is the Chiefs' 12th man.
Yeah, that would be the home field advantage for Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
When that place gets loud, Bob, you can attest to that. It's difficult to hear the signals from the quarterback, things like that. Yeah. You might have some, guys jumping offside. On the offense, moving a little bit too quickly, and that's a drive killer.
Les, let me give you a little tip on this game. Now that you made me think about this,
8.5, Benny.
Texans played in the worst division in the NFL.
Yep,
they played 3 teams that only won a total of 5 games, I think, or 6 games. If the Chargers last week drove the ball down the field, committed some mistakes, only got a field goal, intercepted the ball inside the 30, went backwards, got a field goal. They could have blown the game out right at the beginning. Yeah. And then with the ineptitude of the Chargers, that's why they won. Andy Reid, week to prepare, extra week to prepare. I bet you his record is probably about 40-0. with an extra week to prepare. His guys get rested. Mahomes, they win that game by 2 touchdowns easy.
All right, so Benny, you obviously like him to cover 8.5 points. Al,
Yes.
Does Mahomes have a big game? Well, you think the Texans are going to win the game?
I think the Texans can handle it. If they can keep it close going into the fourth quarter, watch the Texans. Now, I like what Bob said about containing Mahomes, but they don't have the big play guys anymore. I don't see that now. Mahomes is going to get his. He's a playmaker. He's got that magic, and obviously got the cerebral head coach on the sideline. But it's just something about this Texas football team that I saw, regardless of what happened. This is a new season. What I saw last week, if they play like they played against the Chargers, I think they can handle these guys.
Hey,
I think look at Mahomes got hurt early on too. He's been banged up a little bit, so you got to watch all of that.
If you decide to put any coin on the Texans, call me first.
All right. Well, we know where Benny stands. Al's not Al. You got to give me a pick. Who's going to win the game?
I'm going with the Texans.
Okay,
I think it's going to be a close one, but the Texans are going to win.
All right, Bob. I know what you're going to say because you played for them at least a year. Who are you taking?
It's the Chiefs. Arrowhead is I think the loudest, most difference making stadium in the NFL. It's the most college-like atmosphere that's in the NFL. And then like Benny said, you give Andy Reid that long to prepare. Even though I've got a tremendous amount of respect for DeMarco Ryans, I think he's an outstanding young coach in the NFL, especially a defensive coach. But I think the game will be close. But in Mahomes' magic, finds a way in the end.
All right, guys. Then we go to game 2 on Saturday, and this is one of the two that I really am interested in seeing. And that is going to be the Commanders against the Lions. And listen, we're biased here. We got our Lions helmet right there because, Patrick Malarkey is a friend of the show. He's been on the show, area scout for the Detroit Lions. They've never been to a Super Bowl. It would be great if the Lions finally made a Super Bowl. It really would. They're an exciting team. I don't know anybody who's done a better coaching job losing so many defensive players. Coach Campbell, and on the defensive side, Aaron Glenn's done an amazing job losing not just players in depth, but top-notch players. Hutchinson was the odds-on defensive player of the year until he went down and got hurt. I think it was through 6 or 7 games. But, they're getting some players back now. At the end of they're getting players back. I don't know how healthy they're going to be. And then you look at the Commanders and look what Jaden Daniels done. I mean, he's playing like a 5-year. Let's go to Al. You're the quarterback guy. Jaden Daniels is playing like he's been in the league for 5 years. Nothing seems to faze this kid. Late game situations, last second drives, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal, he needs a first down. He can run. He seems to glide like a Lamar Jackson. He doesn't put himself in harm's way. He doesn't take that direct hit. Do you see him being successful against a very good Lions defense that's put a lot of quarterbacks on negative plays this year? They've done a great job, Aaron Glenn and their defense. Does Jaden Daniels play a mistake-free game, and do the Commanders upset the number 1 seed in the NFC?
Well, I tell you what, Jaden Daniels is a special talent. He's demonstrated that he's going to be the rookie of the year, no doubt, as far as I'm concerned. But I tell you what, I think he's going to run into a buzzsaw in Detroit because I think defense win championships, offense sell tickets. I think he's going to have some problems with their defense. I think their defense is going to confuse him, have him a little uneasy, keep him uncomfortable. If you keep him uncomfortable, their offense is not going anywhere. Now, he has great arm talent. He can throw the football. They can run the football decent as well. I just think that playing 4 quarters against Detroit is going to be a challenge for them. I think Detroit's going to probably handle them without a problem.
Bob, Detroit's been a resilient group. I mean, Jared Goff, everyone said, well, they made the swap at the quarterback, Stafford, who's doing great in the Rams. We'll talk about him. But I think Goff was kind of a throw-in. I think people didn't think he was going to, put up the numbers he has the last 2 years. He's definitely in the MVP discussions this year. He's played fantastic, limited turnovers, thrown for a lot of touchdowns. They do get back David Montgomery, is going to play, it looks like. He's probable, at least. He's been practicing this week. He's wearing a brace. They say his knee's solid. He's good to go. You got that 1-2 punch, him and Jahmyr Gibbs, the speed guy. Do you think the Commanders can score with Detroit. I don't think it's going to be a defensive slugfest.
Yeah.
I think Washington's only chance is to score with Detroit. Do you think they can?
I think Detroit, and I do think it'll be somewhat of a shootout. But Detroit's just so explosive offensively, and especially if they get Montgomery back, that's a little thunder and lightning coming out of the backfield. And St. Brown receiver, they can hurt you in so many ways. Talented tight end as well. They were just so injury plagued this year, especially on defense, and so they had to outscore people, and they kept finding ways to do that. But Jaden, the Commanders, I'm equally impressed with the quarterback, like I was talking about. I mean, the guy, he's a special talent and just an exciting player. But I just think, again, the Lions being at home, the explosive nature of their offense will continue to put the pressure on that young Commanders team. And in the end, I think that's the difference.
All right, Benny, the spread here, 9.5 points. Lions at home,
tough
55.5.
one.
Do they cover?
Tough one. The Lions got Anzalone back, and he made such a difference in their last game against the Vikings. I mean, it was like a totally different defense. I don't think the Commanders could keep up. The Lions are going to score.
Yep,
they're going to score their 35 or more. I'm too like Alan Bob. The kid is an exceptional quarterback for the Commanders. Exceptional. He's like a 20. It's like he's been in the league for 20 years, and he knows everything. The Lions do have a problem with running quarterbacks, and he does run.
Right.
But in the end, I don't think Washington could score with Detroit, and I think Detroit beats them by double digits. Also.
All right. Well, so Benny's taking the 9.5. He thinks the Lions are going to cover. We have 2 games on Sunday. Again, one game super interesting to me. The first one, though, we've got the Rams, the surprising L.A. Rams, who just absolutely destroyed Eric. I'm sorry. I know Eric's out there. He's catching a plane about now. He might not be on right now, but his Vikings just got absolutely blasted by this Rams team. So the Rams travel to the Eagles. Eagles guys have probably one of the 3 best offensive lines in football. They had Saquon Barkley over 2,000 yards. Hurts did not play great last week. He didn't turn it over, but he only completed, I think, 11 or 12 passes out of 21. Didn't throw for a lot of yards. I mean, A.J. Brown was reading a book on the sidelines. I mean, that's the biggest thing. The guy's like reading a book. Well, you're not throwing to me. Let me read the book, right? So my question there is, Philadelphia beat them badly. I think 4th game of the season, 37-9. I think Barkley ran for over 200. Al, does he get more into the game? I know we came off protocol last week, the concussion protocol. Maybe it was a slow start for him. Now he's got that game under his belt. Do you see him throwing the ball more? And does Saquon Barkley have a massive game again against a much improved Rams defense?
I see Philadelphia being blue collar. I see them running the football, doing what they do best. What gets them there? I mean, that's the running game has got them where they are. Saquon Barkley, one of the best running backs in the league. By far, he could have easily broken Eric Dickerson's record. I think that Hurts can throw the football just enough to keep the balance there. That run pass balance that you're going to need on offense. If Stafford plays good football, I mean, the best way you do is keep his butt on the sideline as well. Philadelphia eat a lot of clock up running the football. Stafford comes in, it's going to be cold. They're going to be playing in Philadelphia. The advantage has got to be Philadelphia. You're talking about a 12th man. It's going to be a challenge for the Rams, I think. But I'm pulling for the Rams because they got a rattler playing who run kickoff returns and punt returns. But I think the Eagles are going to win.
You like the Eagles. Bob, let's go to you. I know that Nakobe Dean is out. And he's kind of the bell cow leader there at that linebacker position, smaller linebacker, but he can do a lot. He can drop into coverage, he blitzes, he does a lot. That's gonna hurt Philadelphia's defense. But do you see Philadelphia having enough to slow down Stafford? He's got those 2 receivers now, Puka Nacua and Kupp are playing at a very high level. I think Higginbottom got hurt last week. I'm not sure if he's going to play or if he's probable or not. The Rams are much improved. Does Philadelphia shut down that Rams offense? And can the Rams defense with Jared Verse, who's probably odds on one of the favorites to win Rookie Defensive of the Year. Had a great game last week. I think he ran back a touchdown and a fumble recovery. Can the Rams shut down Philadelphia?
Yeah, I think this is one of those. Really, the next two games we're going to discuss are both what I call mindset games, because they played earlier in the season and the Eagles kind of had their way with them. Mm-hmm. And so if you're the Rams defense, you put that film on and you watch that tape and you watch Saquon Barkley run up and down the field and pretty much embarrass your defense. So I think coming in, whether the game plan's probably a little differently, but from the player's mindset, I think you go out there with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, like you've got something to prove. But with that being said, I think the Eagles are a better all-around team with the offensive, weapons with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown at receiver, arguably the best running back in the NFL. Run the ball, a more than capable quarterback that could be sometimes a dual threat as well. And then the 12th man combination of the weather and the crowd in Philly. Philly's a tough place to play. And yeah, I think the Eagles, it will win again. But Stafford's a tremendous quarterback, and he's got two really good receivers. But no, I look for the Eagles in a closer game than what they played earlier in the year.
All right, so you like the Eagles. Betty, it's 6 points. Eagles are favored. 43.5 is the over-under. Who are you taking in the game?
I disagree with the gentleman. I like the Rams.
Well, the Rams. It's a cover to win the game, Ben.
To win the game. I like the Rams to win the game.
Okay.
One of the hottest teams in the NFL. They started 1-3 or 1-4. They won the rest of their games. I like their coach. I think they got a better coach.
He's a great coach. Tremendous coach.
Hey, 2 years ago, won the Super Bowl. 3 years ago, when they got Stafford,
beat the Bengals.
Right?
Yep. The Bengals.
They were 2 years in the Super Bowl. I think this is a game where the spread's 6.5, so they don't think it's going to be a blowout. Right. They don't want to put it over that touchdown. The weather's not in the favor of the Rams. The Rams didn't play at home last week, so it's like their second week in a row on the road, actually. But I think the Rams are going to upset the Eagles.
All right, so what do we got here? It's okay. So you got the Rams. Tony's sending me text messages now. Here's the poll results. Poll results.
Go ahead.
Well, it's the only way we communicate. We're not that, we're not at ESPN level yet. Not yet. Will the Chiefs win a third consecutive title? 71% say yes, 28% no, based on 14 votes. And the other question was the Ohio State freshman, Jeremiah Smith. Will he challenge the NFL 3-year wait period? It's close. 52% to 47% say yes, he will. I think that if he has a huge year next year, Bob, to your point, physically mature enough, I think he will challenge that rule. All right, guys, we go on to our last game. We have some comments.
Yes.
Oh, well, it's funny. The green light's not on, but we've got comments, so let's take them right now, Joni.
Okay. Jerry Amatrano, he says the NFL would want the Rams to win Stafford against Goff next game.
Oh, that would be nice. A little reversal.
Good.
Okay, I like that.
Very good, Gerard. That. Yes, very good.
They traded for each other. Okay, it's a good one. What else we got?
Yeah. Mike Miller, Eagles have way more talent, but with the way they've played recently and McVay coaching versus Kellen Moore and Sirianni. Yes, thank you. Rams upset.
Well, Mike is, something, Mike, he's following your lead, Benny, because you guys are both Notre Dame fans. That would make sense. Okay. What else we got?
Yep, more. Randy Harris, Buffalo for the win to the Super Bowl.
Buffalo, and we're going to talk about the upcoming game, Buffalo and Baltimore. Evidently, Randy likes Buffalo to get by Baltimore and Kansas City to get into the Super Bowl. Okay, who else?
Favorite Saturday, underdog Sunday.
I know that's we got. Who else we got?
Well, Eric Mayer, he is on, by the way, and he said
Eric hasn't taken off yet.
Thanks for rubbing that in last.
Sorry about that, Eric.
About the Vikings. So Eric says Lions versus Bills in the Super Bowl.
That would be something.
John Irwin says Lions will make the Super Bowl. They just find a way to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like those picks. I'll tell you guys, from a sentimental standpoint, it would be such a great story if the Lions did play the Bills because neither one of those teams have ever won one. Buffalo got there 4 times, never won. The Lions have never been there. So that would be great. And that takes us to our 4th and final game on Sunday. We've got the Ravens, and they are trucking people. Talk about smash and crash football. They're playing at the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, one of the 2 front runners for the MVP. It's going to be the battle of the MVP quarterbacks, right? Lamar Jackson against Josh Allen playing in this game. It's going to be a 6:30 time. Who knows what the weather's going to be like in Western New York at that time? We could be in a blizzard condition. We don't know what's going to happen. Lake effect snow. Al, I'm going to you. Based on all the stats this year, based on what they've done for their teams this year, you've got the 2 leading contenders for the most valuable player. We talked about it last week. You've got Lamar Jackson and you got Josh Allen. The game's being played at Buffalo. Who do you give to the edge to and why in this game from the quarterback play?
Well, I tell you what, both of them have been playing lights out football. I mean, Lamar and Josh both have been killing it, man. I mean, getting it done. In Buffalo, you have to give the edge to the Buffalo quarterback, any way you look at it. I mean, he's been playing there all year. He plays lights out. He's a big kid. He runs the football. They got the 12th man, if you will. But Lamar's been playing exciting football as well. He's got some extra help in the backfield, and of course, he's got the tight end and the receivers out wide. Mm-hmm. This is going to be probably a great contest. Mm-hmm. Go down to the wire. I mean, probably the best game that we've seen this year. It's going to be tight. But I mean, in Buffalo, you got to give the edge to Josh because he's been playing there, and that's his home. And I'm not saying they're going to win, but I just think that you got to give the edge. But both quarterbacks have been lighting it up. I think you're going to get great play, great quarterback play from both these guys. They're going to leave it all on the field for sure.
All right. Let me go to you, Bob. You're looking at the Ravens have been playing great football lately. The last three or four games, they're hot. Buffalo's pretty much play consistently all year long. But the one X factor, I've got to say, I know Cook had a great game for Buffalo. He did, over 100 yards last week. But my goodness, how in the world do you slow down Derrick Henry? If you're safety, I'm going to throw that question Gary had out there covering Ty Warren. You're safety, you're coming up on run support, and you're looking at this guy, 6'3", 245 pounds, who not only can truck you, but he can run away from you. How do you defend the two-headed monster? You know, that RPO is going to be so dangerous because, Jackson can fake the dive inside and sprint outside. If you're a safety, how do you do this? How do you contain that?
And stiff arm you.
That would be my biggest fear is that stiff arm that he has. Because that's you want to try to stay off those highlight reels. But he's a tremendous back. I mean, when you have power, size, and speed, it's you see it. I mean, some of those defensive backs, they make what you call business decisions, and they turn it down a little bit. But I just think you don't try to tackle him up high because he's just again, that's where the stiff arm and you try to get into the waist and below and wrap him up and hopefully you get some help. But that's the threat that they pose with Lamar. I don't know how fast he is, but I know he's football fast. Yeah. Because when he keeps that ball, he's got another gear. He runs away from defensive backs. You see it consistently throughout his career. So and that again, I mentioned before the mindset. They played earlier this season. It was either a Sunday night or a Monday night game. Mm-hmm. And the Ravens had their way with them. I mean, and I think. I think Henry had 70 or 80 yard run. It might have been the first play of the game. Yeah. It was the first or second play of the game, and it just kind of set the tone for that game. And they won the line of scrimmage that night. And the Bills were really never in it. And Josh Allen really wasn't able to get into his game because they were playing from behind the entire game. So as Al pointed out, playing up in Buffalo, the Bills Mafia is real. And it will be a factor in the game. But no, I look for it to be just an exciting football game because I think that it'll be a lot of offense. And I too would give the edge to Buffalo at home. Wow, but both quarterbacks have had a tremendous year, and it's been fun to watch them play. But Cook's been an added dimension for the Bills that I don't think they've had. So they've been able to have a running game and take some of the pressure off Josh Allen, and I think that's why he's had such a productive year. And I think he's not trying to do everything on every play like maybe he has earlier in his career, and he's had fewer turnovers because of that. But should be an exciting, fun football game to watch. Really fun for the fans, because I think there will be a lot of offense.
So you both Bob and Al are kind of leaning towards Buffalo, the home team. Benny, the Ravens favored by 1 on the road.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I think the Ravens going to win this thing by double digits. I just think it's a mismatch. No, guys, I just think I don't think
I
Buffalo's
do agree with our 2 expert panelists.
Okay, well, first of all, I just don't see how Buffalo's defensive front holds up against that Ravens offensive line. I think they're playing at a high level. But Benny, who do you like? Do the Ravens cover, or do you like Buffalo?
I agree with Bob and Al 100%. I like Buffalo.
I'm a minority here.
I think Josh Allen is. I think Lamar Jackson is going to win the MVP.
Yeah,
but I think Allen's doing things this year. He's not doing the crazy, stupid plays that he normally does. I love their coach, Bills Mafia. I see Jackson making the mistake. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be probably one of them games that they talk about for years because of the both quarterbacks and just. But I like Buffalo. I like Buffalo at home. I was very impressed with the way they played against Denver last week.
And they did, and they gave up the quick touchdown.
Denver's a great defense. They got a great defense, Denver, and they couldn't stop them.
Guys, we have some comments. I don't know how you slow down Derrick Henry right now. I really don't. But have some comments, Joan.
Okay, so James Benkowski says Buffalo must stop two-headed running game.
Yep.
Walt
agree.
says love Josh Allen, but Jackson Henry combo for the win.
Yeah, I agree.
Jerry Amatrano, if Lamar doesn't make stupid mistakes, Baltimore could win.
I agree.
Buffalo can stop Henry. But Barry Smith says Lamar is a ball hog. Elevate your team. Jackson thinks he's a Superman, doesn't let others participate.
What do you mean? Derrick Henry ran for almost 2,000 yards this year. I mean, Mark Andrews is one of the best red zone tight ends in the league. And now he doesn't have Zay Flowers, though. I think Zay Flowers is out for the year.
Yes, he's out.
And that's been his bread and butter when it comes to third down this year. So that could affect the game a little bit. But, guys, I'm sorry. I'm not a Ravens guy, but I just see Derrick Henry and Jackson running roughshod. I like the Ravens to win this game like 34 to like 17. I really do. What do I know?
Les, you have my phone number also if you want to put any coin on.
I am. I'm betting Kansas City. I told you I'm taking Kansas City. Don't tell Joan I'm taking 350. Plus 350, I'm taking KC. All right, guys, before we go real quick, I know we still get some more comments, but I want to throw this up on the board. These are the head coaching vacancies right now in the NFL. There were 7. The Patriots filled that with Mike Vrabel, who's on the Patriots Hall of Fame. Maybe some of the Patriot fans out there can pipe in. Was it a good move to get Vrabel on board? How do you think he'll work with Elliott Wolf, the existing GM there? But listen, we've got the Raiders, we've got the Bears, we've got the Saints, the Jaguars, the Cowboys, and oh my God, the New York Jets are a fire dumpster. I don't know who can save them, and then we get some of these head coaches guys up there.
Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh could fix the Jets.
Yeah, Robert Saleh tried to fix the Jets, and he was fired after 4 games. So you got maybe they can bring back Walt Michaels. Is he dead? Maybe if he's not, they can bring him back. Okay, or Pete Carroll wants to get back into coaching. Bring him back. But you got Cliff Kingsbury, Washington, Flores, Minnesota's out. Sarkisian. People have talked about the Texas head coach possibly kicking the tires. You got both defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator with the Lions, Glenn and Johnson, Jesse Minter with the Chargers, and Mike McCarthy, who just got fired from the Cowboys on Monday. The Bears, I guess, are kicking the tires and wanted to talk to him when he was still with Dallas. So maybe McCarthy's in play with Chicago. I want to ask you guys, first of all, let's go to a couple comments before we do that.
Oh, okay. Let's see. James Benkowski, will Les wear home or away Notre Dame jersey next week?
Oh God. Well, first of all, James, the problem with it is I can't afford a Notre Dame jersey. Their sweatshirts are too much money. Their helmets are $249. They got all Joe Montana autographs. But because Benny said, if Notre Dame wins, I've got to wear a Notre Dame hat. He said something about Notre Dame underwear. Benny, that ain't happening. Sorry. That ain't happening.
A big
hell
ND.
Freezes over.
A big ND on your butt.
Hell freezes over before that happens.
Yeah.
So I will, James, if Notre Dame wins, I'm a true man. I will wear Notre Dame apparel on the show.
Okay. Jerry Amatrano says, bring back Gruden.
You know something,
Yeah.
guys? Interesting. He's been on the sidelines for a little bit. The guy obviously is a proven winner. He's won it at multiple teams. You know, that whole thing that he got fired on, I don't buy that whole thing. But let's see what happens. Maybe Gruden gets a kick as an OC and then elevates to a head coach in a couple of years. Go ahead, John.
Okay. James Benkowski says Lombardi couldn't save the Jets.
He's right. Lombardi, Belichick, Nick Saban, Newt Rockne. Bring them all back. They ain't saving the Jets.
Les, you eliminated a guy that I heard is looking to get back in there.
Who's that?
Ryan.
Oh yeah, Rex Ryan. Yeah, he's great.
Rex Ryan.
Yeah,
he wants to get back into coaching.
Yeah. Listen, he does a pretty decent job. He does a pretty decent job with ESPN. Stay where you are, Rex. Stay with Greeny and the other guy there from UConn, Orlovsky, and all those guys. Stay with that. You ain't going to win with the Jets. Listen, the Jets had, in the last 5 years, they've had the number 3 pick in the draft as quarterback. Gone. The number 2 pick as a quarterback, gone. They bring in a Hall of Famer, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, that worked out tremendously. And the third play tears his Achilles. And this year, he just lives in a cave. This guy, I don't know what his deal is. He sleeps in caves. He thinks the UFOs are coming down. That guy's out of his mind. Sorry. And I love his career, but come on, he's a little out there. Any more, Joni? Are we done?
No. Yeah.
Okay, we are done on the comments. So, guys, let me put this to you. We're at an hour and 5 minutes. We're going to go another 2 minutes real quick. Best job out of the 6 existing jobs. Al, I'm going to go to you first. Based on what the teams have right now as rosters, what do you think are maybe the 1 or 2 best job openings here that you can win immediately?
Right away.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I tell you what, I'm an offensive guy. I like Kingsbury, the OC at
Jacksonville.
The Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him coming to Jacksonville. Man.
Okay.
That's me too, Al. I agree with
like
that.
him. I think when you got a young quarterback, you got a young OC like that who will be a young head coach. And I thought he did some good things out in Arizona. I just think that the wheels fell off the wagon out there. But I think that's what Trevor will need to get him rejuvenated and get that offense going, because they got some skilled people. The other guy, can Tony? Can you put the list back up?
Oh, he's got it up there. Oh, I'm seeing it right here.
I can't see it.
Well, everyone's all over Ben Johnson from the Lions.
Okay. And the other guy is, again, an offensive guy, Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
I like to see Ben Johnson. I think the OC with Detroit, he's done some creative things. Can you see him in Dallas with the Cowboys and turning that offense around? They've always been close. They got to the door, but they couldn't open the door. And I think Ben Johnson could get that offense moving.
That would be okay, Bob. Let me go to you, asking you the same question out of these teams. Imagine Ben Johnson in Dallas, what he could do with a healthy Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. They have talent. He's drafted well, Jones. It's just McCarthy, unfortunately, hasn't done it in the playoffs, and this year injuries just really derailed the Cowboys' season. If you're a head coach right now, Bob, you're a defensive guy. You're a head coach. Which 1 or 2 teams on this list do you think is best fit to win immediately?
No, I think Al nailed it. I think it's the Jaguars and the Cowboys, and it starts at the quarterback position because it's a quarterback-driven league. And with Lawrence there and Jackson when he's healthy, I think he still has a tremendous upside. And they've got some talent at running back, and it's just a matter of putting it together. And as well as the Cowboys, they outside of the last couple of years, not this year, they went to the playoffs and they just can't get through the playoffs. So Prescott's he's a proven quarterback in the NFL. He's going to be your guy. CeeDee Lamb's one of the top 5 receivers in the league. I think someone with a creative offensive mindset could do some tremendous things at both those organizations if given the opportunity.
All right, well, I saw the green light pop on for 1 second.
Yes.
Okay, well, it went green light, red light. Now it's back to green light. Okay, we're go. Okay, Jody, a couple more comments out there from our viewers.
Yes. So Barry Smith says, Bob, you should throw your hat in the ring there.
Bob, you'd have to take a pay cut.
No, I would not. No. There are much smarter people out there than me for those jobs.
So John Irwin says, best job available is Dallas. And he thinks Johnson to Dallas is brilliant on so many levels.
Look at that. All right. Yeah.
Stu Deathlison, how about Deion Sanders to the Cowboys?
They're talking, but
and Jerry Amatrano asks the same question. What about Deion Sanders?
Okay, Benny, we've talked about this, right? You say no way they can coexist in Dallas.
Right. Yeah. Playing for him is much different than being a head coach. I think from what I was hearing, Dion really loves working with the college players.
Okay.
To make them, better in life and to just not he just doesn't consider them just football players. He wants to make them better in life. I heard he's got this rule now, you don't have a 3.0, you're giving your money back. He's got all kinds of things, and he just wants to make young men better individuals to go further in life. And Dion likes to do things Dion's way. Jerry likes to do Jerry's things Jerry's way.
That's
so
true.
It's not. I don't think it would be I think he'd be successful because he's successful in everything he does, but not there. And I think he likes coaching college kids much more.
We have more comments too. He's too busy. He's in Boulder. He's doing his Affleck commercials with Nick Saban. He's loving life. What do we got there, Joni?
Okay, just a funny comment from Mike Miller. Dion to Dallas would be such a Jerry move.
You know something? It would be a big, almost a publicity move, right? If he took it. And real quick before I'm going to shock Bob because, Bob, I know you've been so kind staying on, and I know you're up in Cambridge. If you're available next Wednesday, Bob, if you're available, I'd love to have you come back on and talk about, what happened in the college football championship and moving forward to the AFC and NFC championships. I don't want to put you on a spot, but I love it.
You are putting me on the spot.
I am putting you on the spot. But listen, I know you got the new gig and everything. If you are available, could you come back next Wednesday?
Oh, yeah. No, it's always, like I said, it's an honor and a privilege to be on. Now, yeah, I'd love to come back on.
And I got a question, Bob, for you. Does Bill Belichick be successful? Is he going to be successful in Chapel Hill? Do you think him bringing Lombardi and the pro style kind of mentality to college football, even though it is turning more professional every day, do you think he can ultimately be successful with North Carolina?
Well, again, a tremendous question by you, Les. But he's arguably the greatest NFL coach of all time if you can measure success by winning in Super Bowls. But yeah, it's a little bit of a different game, even though the college game has moved closer to the NFL style. It'll be interesting if he is going to be able to adjust his style to the college level, because it's different. It's still football, so it'll be interesting. I think a lot of it will depend on the staff he surrounds himself with. Mm-hmm. Because that's the majority of the coaching will take place in recruiting by the coaches. So it's gonna be a fun watch. I'll say that. I don't know if he's gonna be there long term. I really don't. I'm not sure if he doesn't take one of these openings that we just had up on the screen.
You said it, Bob. He might not even be there for 2 months.
Listen, his girlfriend could be the head cheerleader at North Carolina this year. He might not have to leave. just saying out there.
Yeah, I know. But I think June 1st, his buyout goes down to $1 million.
To $1 million, yes.
But guys,
he did that for a reason.
But I got to ask you though, Mike Lombardi. I just heard him on a Pat McAfee show. Actually, it was a great interview. Give Pat his props there. Not that he needs it from me, but saying that he's all in all of this talk about him potentially looking and calling other teams. He goes, that was all bull. He goes, we never put that out there. This is how these rumors start. He's 100% committed to North Carolina. He's in it for the long haul. Now, I think maybe 2 years, and then he passes it on to his kid, Steve, who he brought on from the University of Washington. I think it's set up for a succession plan there. But I just don't see, if he leaves now, and Lombardi says all this stuff, and he says all the right thing, and he bails in a month. I mean, what does that tell you about Belichick? Really? No way. I say he stays for at least a year. He's got to give it 1 year. Oh, we have.
What's the most important thing to him?
Oh, we're cut off. Guys, an hour and 13 minutes. It's been a great show. I want to first of all thank everyone out there. Great questions, great comments. It's been awesome. Thanks for choosing us over the president. Hey, I'll take it any day. Bob, thanks for coming on. It's been awesome. Love to have you back again next week. If you can do it, we'll promote it. Al, best of luck this weekend. I know you got the Florida A&M basketball games to broadcast, so best of luck to the Rattlers. Benny,
Thank you,
I know you're going to be trying to get me a pair of
Les,
underwear some down. I don't know what you got going on.
ceasefire in Israel today. They got the ceasefire.
Yeah, they got the ceasefire. I'll have to turn home. I'll have to go home and watch the news. But listen, guys, thanks so much. It's been an awesome show. Let's enjoy football. Let's have a great weekend
Take care,
and a great
Al.
national
Take care,
championship
Bob.
Monday.
All right, guys.
Listen,
Thank y'all so much.
for Joni,
All right.
for Tony, my man, the Wizard, everyone here at Sports Talking Sports, have a great upcoming weekend. Enjoy the games. We'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m.